There we go. All right, we are back, guys. This is the Midpoint Marvelous Facts. We got a one character feature for you tonight. Not a whole lot of new people popping in and out, of things that have a little history to them and that we haven't already discussed. But I did pull the Tinkerer out of my butt, and he is created. I don't think we covered him. I had to look back, but I wasn't sure. So if we did, I apologize. But I found some crazy stuff about him that didn't jog my memory. I probably would have mentioned before, so that's why I went with it. He was created by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. I was going to say Steve Lee, but Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. First appearance way back in Amazing Spider-Man #2, May 1963 is the release date. So Phineas Mason is his name. This is the Tinkerer goes by. He was a brilliant scientist, engineer skilled in invention. Sometimes these wikis are written atrociously. When he was middle-aged, he had a repair shop named Phineas's Fix-It. One evening while closing his business, came across a confused fleeing Doombot. Phineas took pity in this robot and adopted him. I'm getting to a point here. Just bear with me. After using the Doombot as an assistant for years, Mason gifted the Doombot an artificial membrane with the appearance of a human skin onto the robot's surface to help it blend in with society, with the Doombot later adopting the name of Vincent Doonan. Now, Vincent Doonan, I got around to all this to mention. Vincent Doonan is the Doombot that always makes the appearances in Gwenpool. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't realize really he's been around for a while. With the emergence of superheroes some years later, Mason began to loathe these beings he considered used their abilities recklessly. He eventually became obsessed with superhumans so much he decided to become a supervillain himself, taking up the alias of the Terrible Tinkerer, targeting Spider-Man specifically to get rid of him. That development prompted Vincent to leave Mason's side. So that was their splitting, the Doombot and Phineas Mason there. Funny fact, not really funny, but at one point he was paraplegic. After being tracked down by the Punisher, he was spared an untimely death because he technically did not commit any crimes and was merely guilty of working for criminals. So the Punisher let him off light by severing his spinal cord with a screwdriver. The Punisher's version of a warning. He later regained use of his legs under unknown circumstances. So a happy ending in the end for the Tinkerer. Probably Marvel wanting to forget that the Punisher stabbed him with a screwdriver in the back of the neck to paralyze him.
Probably.
But, really no reason has ever been given for why he started walking again, but he has. And it's a thing not to be mentioned probably again for just the pure brutality of the way it went down, which I thought was noteworthy. And again, not necessarily laugh out loud funny, but it made me chuckle when I read that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the Punisher's version of getting off lightly. You're not dead. You'll just take a screwdriver to the spine. Yeah, I'm clenching my back right now just thinking about it. It's like, when someone mentions getting hit in the balls and your balls start hurting, that's exactly what's going on with my spine and my back right now. But we're going to transition all that, wrap up the midpoint facts on the Tinkerer, a little crazier than you thought probably, and kick it off to Travitt and the all-new Wolverine, issue 31. So a one-shot to dip your toe in if you're looking to get a little experience with Honey Badger, Jonathan, and guest star Deadpool, I guess.
Yep. It's funny because when you after the cover, when you go to the credits page in the top right corner, it says Honey Badger and Deadpool. So just letting you know who's the stars of this issue, I guess, which is pretty cool. So all new Wolverine number 31, written by the great Tom Taylor with art by Marco Fela, something like that.
I'm rolling with you.
Yeah, whoever he is, he did a really good job. Colors by Nolan Woodard, who was doing the colors in the previous arc, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit, with a cover by David Lopez. I got the Celissa here, so I figure might as well. Gabby makes a shocking discovery about the past and turns to the only person she can trust to help her, Deadpool. Will Deadpool help with Gabby's mission of vengeance, or will he only make matters worse? And why is Jonathan the actual Wolverine joining them? So, we start this issue off on Roosevelt Island in Laura and Gabby's apartment, and it's just a normal day around the house, which I think they got this house after saving all those people. I'm not sure, but I think that's when they got it.
Yeah, I'm hit and miss on this series. I've read random issues, so I'm not the continuity guy to ask about it.
The story that led them going to space and having that brood mission with the Guardians.
The last one I read was the one where Deadpool was ironically in. To be honest with you, so
and that's it, right? Right before that story where they went out into space was the story where that alien came to Earth and she had that infection that was killing all the people, but the Wolverines could absorb it, and then all the people with healing factors like Dakin and Deadpool came in and absorbed all the diseases, and Laura almost died and all that. So I think they got this like apartment as like a reward for being good people and not letting everyone die. So so yeah, they're chilling in the house. And Laura is after Gabby to walk Jonathan because he just chewed through a statue of a pelican. Gabby doesn't feel like it and says maybe Jonathan doesn't want to be walked. And then Laura pulls out the universal translator from their mission with the Guardians and says, well, let's ask him. So Laura hangs it around his neck, and Jonathan says, need outside, sunshine, air, taste of other bird statues, which was kind of funny.
Yeah. Every time I love like this issue comes off like it's just a lot of fun, but like every time the Wolverine opens his mouth, I enjoy it way more than I should as a 36-year-old adult male.
Yeah, me too. That's pretty fucking funny. So soon after we see Gabby walking down the street with Jonathan, when all of a sudden Jonathan gets a whiff of something he doesn't like and starts growling. Then he just takes off running, dragging Gabby behind him. Jonathan stops at this shady building with armed guards and says, bad place, hurt Jonathan, hurt family. I love the way it talks, like 2 words, period, word period, 2 words, period.
He talks like Orphan, except he's an animal, not a human.
Yes. Says a lot about Orphan.
Yeah.
Gabby picks up the phone and calls none other than Deadpool. You know, you think she'd call Laura in a situation like this, but instead she calls Wade. So she asks Deadpool if he's busy, and he's standing there on the phone, and he's got a sword sticking into someone's midsection with all this money flying through the air. So obviously he's on some kind of mission, murdering people. Like straight up, that person's murdered. Like with the sword right through the fucking chest.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm not doing anything important. And Gabby asks if he could come and help her with something. So Deadpool asks if it's unethical, and he's just like, I don't think so. And he's like, is it illegal? She's like, definitely. I'll be right there. So he's on his way, and he gets there pretty fucking quickly, I gotta say. Deadpool shows up.
He used to have a teleporter that never comes into play anymore, though.
It never does. It really never does. But maybe he teleported there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's where my brain jumps from reading old Deadpool, but like that literally never gets mentioned anymore.
Not to mention that right now in the Deadpool comics and in all other comics, fucking Deadpool is a wanted man, like because he killed Phil Coulson, so everybody's on the hunt for him. So he shows up and he starts doing baby talk with Jonathan, which is kind of fucking funny. And then Jonathan threatens to eat his face. You know, will eat face off. I love that. Will eat face off. I can imagine like the computer voice that says it.
Yeah, imagine it's like a smoker's voice.
Yeah. Will eat face off.
Yeah.
Gabby tells him that this is the place that experimented on Jonathan, and that she wants to go in and free all the animals and probably burn the place down. I love that part. She's like, I want to save all the animals, and he's like, oh, for sure, and then burn it down. Right, like, which comes up a couple times because he's like, what's happening? She's like, Jonathan was rescued from a lab. I'm pretty sure this was the lab he was being experimented by. He's like, and you want to what, burn it down? She's like, I want to save the animals. He's like, oh, of course, for sure, and then burn it down.
Yeah.
And Gabby's kind of just like Deadpool, like just crazy like him. So she's like, yeah, let's burn it down. So Laura calls Gabby, but Gabby's not going to answer. She just lets it go to voicemail, and she heads over to the guards to distract them while Wade chloroforms them. And then it's like a really funny moment after they chloroform him. She's like, "So you just carry like chloroform with you wherever you go?" And he's like, "Of course." Then he gives her her own personal little jar of chloroform.
Yep.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was.
There are a lot of funny moments in this issue that just like make you giggle while you're reading it.
I really didn't expect enjoy it as much as I did. It was very entertaining. Really good. Yeah, it was.
It was. So Gabby suits up and they make their way into the building, and I don't even know what to call this guy because he's like fat and pudgy. He doesn't look like a guard. I guess he's like the front desk guy.
Yeah,
I had lobby guard.
Just a fat slobby secretary or something.
Yeah, it's like he's a secretary or the guy who just minds the lobby and sits around all day and does nothing. So he comes out yelling about how they can't be there, and then Gabby, gets her first chloroforming in. She chloroforms the guy, and he just drops the floor and bashes his head. But she forgot to catch him, which was another joke that they made. So then they make their way to the testing hall, and Deadpool uses one of the computer terminals to unlock all the cages, and then warns Gabby about how disturbing animal testing can be. They could be covered in makeup or getting in the sprayed in the face with perfume. But then when they look around the corner, it's all zombie squirrels and rabbits, which is fucking pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then they have that line is like, those monsters, they've made zombies cute, which is funny. So then the cute zombie bunnies start charging at Wade and Gabby, making their way to eat them or whatever. And then they just start slicing and chopping away. They make their way down the hall, and then they run. This was fucking hilarious. They run into a zombie sloth.
Yeah.
We get this hilarious scene of Wade and Gabby just standing there waiting for it to make their way to them. And in every panel, like the sloth will like reach out, pull itself forward.
Yeah, I think it literally moves one bloody footprint in the entire entire page. Yeah.
It doesn't even get to. I was stoned when I read this, so it made me think of that commercial where they're doing like Pictionary and the sloth just like draws like the circles super slow and they're trying to guess what it is. And I just died laughing when I saw this. Wade even goes to the vending machine and gets like a soda or something. So Laura walks in. I guess she was hunting Gabby down, wondering why she didn't answer her phone like a sister/parental figure would do, and questions the tied up guards and the lobby guy. And then she walks in and she sees all the chopped up rabbits, and then she looks up from the chopped up rabbits and she sees fucking Deadpool with squirrels down his sword, like squirrel kebabs. I love that. Like he turns around, and he's like, "It's not what it looks like." She's like, "It looks like you made some squirrel kebabs." He's like, "Okay, yeah, it's actually what it looks like." So Gabby asks Wolverine how she found her, which seems kind of like a dumb question, given her tracking skills and the fact that they are only 4 blocks from their apartment. Gabby didn't call her because she thought Laura would be mad, but Laura tells her, she would have came and helped her out. No, don't feel bad. Don't be scared to call me. I'll come. And then this crazy fucking scientist guy comes out of this room labeled the pit with a shotgun and is like, "Everybody on the floor," which is hilarious to Deadpool because what is he going to do with that shotgun? 3 people with healing factors. One of them can't even feel pain, which is Gabby. What are you going to do with that shotgun? It just doesn't make any sense. So this is the doctor that created all these zombie animals. And Deadpool makes a funny remark, like he always does. Well, Wolverine chats him up about the terrible things that he's done. And then, while they're talking, Wade looks at the door that says the pit and he just opens it up because fuck it, why not? When they enter the room, it's actually an actual pit full of zombie Wolverines that turns out to be Jonathan's brothers and sisters. So Dr. Borland, that's this guy's name. He aims the shotgun at them, telling them to get back. Laura cuts the shotgun into like 3 pieces with the claws, and the Wolverine, Jonathan, starts growling at him, and he's all scared, making his way back. He falls into the pit of zombie Wolverines. So it's over. I guess while all this is going on, Deadpool is carrying in barrels of some flammable substance. I don't know if it's like kerosene, gasoline, whatever, but I thought that was kind of funny because the guy falls in. Laura's looking down. She's like, I think it's over. Then you just see Wade in the background with like big barrels of fucking flammable shit. And he hands Gabby the lighter and asks her if she wants to do the honors. So they blow the place up and they walk away. And it's funny because you've seen this in 1,000 movies. You've seen this in 1,000 TV shows. Deadpool says it too. He's like, badasses always walk away from the fire. Don't turn to look.
Yeah.
And then they decide to sit and watch it burn. So Deadpool, Laura, and Gabby and Jonathan the Wolverine all sit on the wall and watch the building burn. And I love Deadpool tries to pet Jonathan again. He's like, "We'll eat piece of you while you sleep." and that's the end. They watch the building burn. And I loved this issue. It was fun. It was funny. It had good art, really good art, good color all around. It was a great time. You don't have to have read the previous issues to like it doesn't even matter. Like, I mentioned the continuity in the beginning about the Guardian story, how they got the apartment, how they got the translator for Jonathan. None of that even matters. Like, you don't even have to question any of those things. You could just read this one-shot issue and have a good time. I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. It's definitely a buy for me.
Yeah, I don't have much different to say than you. I just thought it was a good, fun, kind of easygoing, jokey story that I really enjoyed. Sometimes it's really hard to pull those off. So you got to give credit where credit is due when it does end up happening and comes off like perfectly like it did. Sometimes even Deadpool can be a little overplayed in his guest appearances, and he was written real well. The only thing that threw me off a little bit in the whole entire story is like Jonathan's like, "Oh, this is my family. Let's murder them cold-bloodedly and ruthlessly." You know what I'm saying?
Let's light them on fire.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, the jokes were all the funny. Like, I still have a problem with Honey Badger. I think it's kind of a corny name. Other than that, I like Gabby as a character. Like, they should just kept it as Gabby. But it's a nitpick. I don't have any other problem with the story or the character. I would definitely suggest it as a buy, which is strange because I didn't really have any anticipation or build going into this book. Like, I kind of saw some panels online and everyone saying, this is a pretty good jokey story, but it really was, and it surprised me. So it's really my surprise of the week. Yeah, I know. It really was like my surprise of the week. But yeah, I mean, other than that, just a fun one shot. Not many better one shots I've read in the last calendar year, I would say.
No, that's so true.
Yeah, it was a fun issue. Like, you could even a little violent for a kid younger than teenage years, but it's a fun issue for even somebody you're trying to suck into comics. Maybe this would be a good place to start them off. But yeah, we're going to kick things off to our last book of the night. This is going to be one of the podcast favorites, Thanos, number 16. So we got writer Donnie Cates, artist Jeff Shaw, color artist Antonio Fabella, and letterer VC's Clayton Cowles. So we're going to go over the quick solicit here. We don't get much forward progress in the story until the very end. But the secret origins of King Thanos' right-hand man, the cosmic spirit of vengeance, the Ghost Rider, who's kind of stolen the show a little bit in a Thanos title as of late.
It's a nice backdoor pilot for his miniseries.
Yeah. So just who is this madman and how did he become allies with the most evil man in the universe? We know who he is. We found out last issue, actually. But this is kind of, like his origin tale and how he's gathered various titles throughout time. So we kick things off with a little narration. From Frank himself, we see a badass picture of him. I don't know if that's just a gun firing or a flamethrower or what he's got going on there, but it looks sweet. Uh, and we get, one of the future visions of Thanos just going crazy and fighting every hero. And this is the start of him taking down Earth and killing everybody and ridding it of all life except for one person. And we find out how that happens. So, we just get a bunch of different panels of Thanos whooping everyone's ass, rips Iron Man in half at one point in time. And
very graphic.
Yeah, when Frank ends up going down, he basically says, I would give anything to kill that son of a bitch, a very Punisher-esque moment. And when he says the Q word, anything, he gets summoned to Mephisto. That's who this is, right?
Yeah, Mephisto. That page, like, how sometimes, like, in a splash page like this, the artist will sign their name. I think this page deserved to have Jeff Shaw's name at the bottom because it's just Mephisto just looks awesome on that.
Yeah,
Satan.
I would say I don't know a lot of comic fans like I hang out with on an everyday basis, like a bunch of people online I chat with and stuff. But I don't know anybody that's ever said like Mephisto is their favorite villain. So maybe that's why, like who wants a Mephisto page signed? If it was more like Frank front and center with his face showing, maybe yeah. But it's still a badass looking page though. Like,
it is.
Devil worshippers will be very happy.
Very happy. He looks scarier here than I've seen him in his like past 10 appearances.
Yeah. So Frank's request to get vengeance any way possible turns him via Mephisto into Ghost Rider, the Spirit of Vengeance. So we get a big, day in the life of Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance on an empty Earth with nobody to kill. And Frank runs down how he's basically stuck in this position for a while. He hasn't killed anybody. He starts going just fucking crazy, talking to himself. And, this is the start of kind of why he's a little bonkers now. Until one day, he finally runs into somebody, and it happens to be Galactus. And this ain't Worldbringer Galactus. This is classic purple Galactus, and he crashes down to Earth after escaping from the wrath of Thanos, and he's looking for anybody to help him, screaming out loud, specifically possibly for Frank Richards. Or not Frank Richards, Richard Reed. I'm mixing Frank Castle and Reed Richards. What he ends up getting is a Ghost Rider, Frank Castle, that confronts him. He's like, what's up, buddy? I'm all that's left, and I'll do what I can to help you because I fucking hate Thanos. So him and Galactus basically come to an understanding since Galactus doesn't have many other options. And he takes the Ghost Rider, Frank Castle, Punisher, and turns him into Ghost Rider, Herald of Galactus. So now he's got double power set going on here on top of just being badass Frank Castle. And they decide to go and attack Thanos. Yeah, Galactus has this sweet fucking huge ass cannon. You could only imagine how big that gun is. And they find where Thanos is hiding out, and they get in a fight with him that basically lasts a long fucking time until Thanos finally does eventually end up besting Galactus, takes his head off, and he ends up, instead of killing Frank Castle, to Frank's surprise, offering him a position as his right-hand man. And Frank accepts. So he's now the rider, the black right hand of the Mad King Thanos, on top of being the Herald of Galactus, on top of being the Ghost Rider. And then they get confronted by, this is just a beat to shit Silver Surfer, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, is this in the past, or is this kind of in the present of our story?
Now now they show us the past, and then
where Ghost Rider is just looking on.
Yes, and then we immediately skip to the future of like right now, them
where
fighting.
We currently are. Yeah. Okay. I got a little confused there by that transition. But yeah, that's where we're at. So we got both the Thanoses, old man Thanos, present Thanos, badass Ghost Rider, all fighting just these different alien creatures while Silver Surfer's kind of circling around them until Frank just pulls off this. I don't know what you want to call this Goku-esque move, but he basically clears the board. You know,
Oh,
like it's a God of War clear the board move.
it's oh my god, the penance stare.
That he just like amplifies it to the max
It's
extent.
a Ghost Rider move. Yeah, yeah. Like it's like a cosmic penance stare, and he just melts everyone. He's like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot I could do that." I love
yeah,
where he says that.
no, I like that part. He like basically mushroom clouds the area. You see this outside view of just some mushroom cloud going up. Him and Thanos have a quick discussion before it looks like Silver Surfer ended up surviving, you know, that nuke type blast, and old Thanos basically confronts him and says, "Why the hell did you wait so long?" Um, and he comes flying in after him, and that's basically where our issue ends. But we find out Silver Surfer this
Oh,
time has the hammer of Thor. He was working on becoming worthy, which is what took him so long to
yeah. When
confront
he,
Thanos the second time.
that's
Because
so
I
funny.
imagine he just escaped his wrath that first time, or because
Yeah,
he looks pretty beat to shit and skinny and a little
does
malnourished, but buff at the same time, you know?
a little black too. He's like a lot
Yeah.
of black to the silver.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's how we wrap up Thanos 16. So I haven't been buying the single issues, but I've decided I'll definitely get the trade of Coates' run. Because it's just been just
Hates.
a yeah, Kate's. I always say Coates. It's just been a blast. Like each issue, I feel like gets a little better than the previous,
Oh
and
yeah,
um, you know, even though I'm sick of Venom, like the way that he writes, just even characters I don't care much about, like Thanos, I could he's just a villain I don't care about. Like yeah, I like when the good guys fight him, but I didn't think I would like a solo book featuring him so much. You know what I'm saying? That's
oh
basically
yeah.
where I'm at with it. And then the art paired with it is incredible every issue. You don't get any of that like you don't know what you're gonna get nonsense coming into the book. Like some books kind of suffer from. Uh I would wholeheartedly recommend it. You know, it's a totally different suggest you buy it than all new Wolverine. What are you in the mood for? Are you in for like action space cosmic title that's fucking crazy and violent, or are you in the mood for a comedy romp that's also kind of crazy and violent? But you know, for different, totally different books. So I would definitely recommend it. I like it a lot, and yeah, like I said, Kate's he between Doctor Strange and another character, I don't really, you know, like all that much. I want him to get an A-list dude, like you know, Venom's maybe A-list to Marvel, but I'm a little venomed out, but I'm gonna read the book regardless because he's on it, so it'll probably be somewhere take him
I'd like to
somewhere
see him do it.
interesting, you know.
I'd like to see him do an A-list book too. I think. I mean, this is probably one of the most well-written comics out of all the comics being released by the big two, like hands
Yeah.
down. Like the
Even like this is
storytelling is
kind of like a in disguise filler issue, but it's still like super enjoyable. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Oh yeah, he keeps you hooked in. Like he's giving you a history of all the characters that he made for his story. You know what I mean? Like where is it? Where is it? Okay, so when he first turns into the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and you just get that one page of the Cosmic Ghost Rider Galactus battle with Thanos, the narration alone where he's like, together they roared, you get the history. Like, right, I hope this is a backdoor pilot from what the series is going to be about. Because what they say together they roared across the cosmos on a quest to halt Thanos' systematic annihilation of every sentient being in existence. Their incredible story lasted centuries, meaning that Galactus and Frank, Cosmic Ghost Rider Frank, whatever, they were together for hundreds of years, traveling like all over the universe. And it says the roar of the rider's engines, audible in even the vacuum of space, became a beacon of hope to those still alive to hear them. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
they'd hear him and Galactus coming, and they'd be like, "Oh, thank God, someone's there to fight fucking Thanos." You know what I mean? It's such a good story, so well written, and the art, dude. This art, Jeff Shaw, I didn't know he had it in him. Like if you read his past books, God Country looked great. It did. It looked great. And what was the other one they did? The Paybacks over at Dark Horse, that looks good too, but not of this level. Like, I think he's doing the work of his career right here. Like, it's every panel looks like a cover quality. Like, he does not lack in anything in this. Like, everything's done gorgeously and with the utmost detail. I fucking love this book. Like you said, I like Lemire brought me into this title, and I felt the same way. Like, I never thought that a book about fucking Thanos would become one of my favorite books. And then Cates comes in and he just changes the game completely. Like, it's completely left field to what Lemire was doing. And I almost say it's better. Like, it's amazing. I love it.
It's weird that to say that, because like Lemire's a really good writer, but it is almost like, I look more. I judge it on this because I definitely look more forward to this title coming out than I did when Lemire was on it, even though I enjoyed like Lemire's story too. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm definitely more excited for this.
I can't wait for it to come out. I always, even if we don't cover it on the podcast, like, it's still one of the first couple books I read that week. So but we're gonna kind of send you guys off to a quick little sign out segment here. I got caught up on something this week, so it kind of inspired a quick idea here. So we got one you've read and one you look forward to. Maybe, I don't know, next week or the week after. I don't know when Trevitz's is, but mine's for this coming week. But I caught up on Exo Manowar, not all the way. I still got 10, 11 to 12 to get and read, because there was a snafu with DCBS. It was like my last order, and I don't know. They kind of fucked up. So I had to like hunt down 5. They sent me 6, 7, 8, 9 twice. I got 2 copies of each of those books. So I finally caught up after getting 5, and it was awesome. So if you haven't really read Exo Manowar, the kind of elevator pitch for it is he's kind of, a little Iron Man-y, but he's like a barbarian warrior from the Roman age, and he's lived all this year due to his bond with this armor that's sentient, and it's just fucking nuts. He's left Earth. He's on an alien planet, and he's like just wanted to be left alone and got sucked into this war and all this shit that has just happened since he's been sucked into this war has been crazy. So I'm really enjoying it. I enjoyed the previous run too. That was 50 issues. It was mostly by Venditti, I think.
Yep.
So I mean, but
it was all by Venditti, all 50 issues.
Yeah, this isn't like anything you need to have read the previous series to enjoy. This is something like all on its own and just a blast. And then the book I'm looking forward to this week coming out, and I didn't even know I had I had added to my list this week because it snuck up on me, and I wanted to check out Oblivion Song, and that's the new Kirkman title. I don't know. There's like some $200 special package you can get with this book. That comes with like a figure and everything. I'm not getting that. I'm not that into Kirkman. I don't love The Walking Dead, but he's a high profile writer, and I think the at least the blurb for the story sounded a little 7 to Eternity-ish to me. That has an interesting twist to it. So I'm interested in that. What about you? What do you got up for one you've read, one you're looking forward to?
All right. So the one I read was this week, was Imaginary Friends from DC, I guess. It's a Vertigo book written by Tim Seeley. The artist's name escapes me right now, but the art is fantastic. And it's just this crazy kind of supernatural story about, imaginary friends are real, but only like certain people can actually see them. And, and they just do these crazy things. Like, they can cause murders. They can cause people to go crazy. So this girl who gets blamed for something that happened to her best friend when she was a child, gets recruited by this FBI agent to help him solve a mystery that involves these beings that are imaginary, these abstract ideas that are imaginary friends. Kind of like Dream from Sandman,
Yeah.
And it's fucking like, I had it sitting on the back burner for a long, long time. I had the first 3 issues, and then one day I sat down and read them, and it was so fucking well written. I couldn't believe Tim Seeley was writing this book, because normally when I read his, like a Nightwing or whatever, it's not that great. It's not that good at all, actually. Like, some of his stuff is good, but his indie stuff, like Revival, this, fucking fantastic. He's one of those guys where If he's writing like a character that's been around for 50 years, it could be good or it could suck. But if he's writing his own stuff, it's just top notch. Like I really enjoy this book. I have a real good time on it. And number 4 came out. It's a 6-issue limited series, and issue 4 came out this past Tuesday. For what I'm looking forward to, I chose something that's like in May, not thinking about what's coming out this week. So instead, I'm scrapping that and I'm picking it's coming out this week, which is Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire and Andreas.
That's where I thought you were going to go. I was setting you up to pick that one. I went with the Kirkland one because I knew you would pick Lemire.
Oh yeah, and I've already read Gideon Falls like a month ago, and it's really, which is funny because it's coming out Wednesday, and it's really good. I really, really enjoyed it. Some of Dave Stewart does the colors, which I always love Andrea Sorrentino when he's not doing his own colors, so it looks fantastic. And it's all about conspiracies, and like one guy is this reclusive like mental patient who's looking for conspiracies in the city's trash, and the other side of the story is about this Catholic priest who arrives in the small town that has all this crazy dark secrets. It's a crazy book.
Crazy.
Yeah. I can't wait to read like a good version of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
I know review copies fucking blow. I don't care how they can never they make the review copy so shitty, so you obviously go buy the book. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, if it's good enough, I'll go buy it anyway. Just make it fucking good. You know?
Yeah, exactly. But, this one was different. Like the quality was like decent, but the way they said it was like, it's like they took a picture of every page and then the scale of it was way smaller than it's supposed to be. As if
I know.
And it
you
can't
enjoy the art as much. That's the the problem with review copies than anything. Like you can get the story out of the text, but the art is just like so dulled down. It's like sometimes I've gotten some where speech bubbles aren't filled in and you don't even know what they're saying.
Or it's written all over the page, like promotional copy.
I know. So you don't share the images online. But we're gonna wrap things up this week, guys. We got a 4-book week coming for you next week. We're gonna give Amazing Spider-Man a break. We're gonna switch up the spider section, do Venom 163. That is going to be the Poison X conclusion to that story. So I'm not going to catch up. I'm going to read the blurb and count on the beginning because I know all about the poisons and how they operate. I don't need to read 3 or 4 more issues to figure out who they've got and who they don't got this time.
You really don't. I like the idea of the X-Men getting symbiotes, but it's okay. It's not awful, but it's okay. You don't really.
So we'll check out the conclusion, see if it wraps up before it leads to the Venomized. Is that the conclusion to this story
saga?
And then Trev's gonna do X-Men Red 2, the Jean Grey focused X-Men Red 2. Hero book is gonna be Infinity Countdown, the official event kickoff. That should be fun. And then
I can't wait.
2-week recap for you guys next week. So the lead up to the Hulk coming back, I'm actually now getting on board with. Well, I haven't read this week's yet, so I don't want to say that. But now I'm getting excited for the book that I get to see finally these teases of someone stuck under Las Vegas. Obviously, the Hulk coming to fruition. So
totally forgot to mention in this new in the issue where they are introducing the Hulk, they are adding 10 pages to the end of the Immortal Hulk. So they, because they're doing this new series, a banner series called by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. Called The Immortal Hulk. And they're going to do it like a 10-page prelude for the series. That's going to be part of the Fresh Start too. Like the Fresh Start's just turning out to be fucking awesome. It's all your favorite classic heroes with great writers and great artists. Marvel's finally got it. Like, you know what I mean? They finally listened. They listened to the real fans, and they're finally delivering the series we want. So
So we'll see how it all turns out. I'm definitely interested in that Hulk one. That sounds cool. I like Al Ewing, so that'll be fun. But we're gonna sign out. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.